You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
That's the Lizard King himself, Chuck Schumer, the Chuckster, the Chuck Man from New York. 6 ways from Sunday to get back at you? The intelligence community. He calls it the IC. The IC. Got to abbreviate everything. And a very good Tuesday to you. Welcome to our humble radio broadcast. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. There was no mass murder in Washington last night that I'm aware of. Might not have made the news yet because it's not that uncommon. In New York, however, a mass shooting and 4 people killed at a Park Avenue office building. A horrible, terrible event, of course. And the lunatic that perpetrated the murder, we're still getting to the bottom of this working case, but 4 killed, including police officer in New York City shooting. The Washington Post has the story on page 4 today. Page 4. It was all over the cable news last night. You may have ignored. In fact, this morning on CNN, they're going with it as their lead story throughout the morning, and they're 10 minutes in, they're still talking about the shooting in New York because the CNN headquarters is in New York, so it happened close to them. The CNN headquarters on the Upper West Side, naturally, Columbus Circle, as you might expect. On the Upper East Side, this multiple shooting by a lunatic, 4 people were killed, including a New York City police officer and 1 seriously injured when another police officer, when a gunman opened fire inside an office building in Midtown Manhattan on Monday evening. The gunman entered 345 Park Avenue just before 6:30 p.m. and opened fire, killing NYPD officer Didarul Islam, and 3 other people before fatally shooting himself in the chest. Shot himself in the chest with his AR-15 style rifle. And he left a note, and his note said there's something wrong with his brain. In case that wasn't evident. And he'd like to have people examine his brain to see what's wrong with his brain, since he just did all of this and murdered people. So he fatally shot himself, shooting himself in the chest, allegedly. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said at a news conference, that's what she said, the names of the other victims were not immediately released. The 5th victim was fighting for his life, Mayor Eric Adams, who called the incident a violent, despicable act and an act of evil. Authorities said they were still determining motive for the attack, which threw a normally busy rush hour into chaos. See, if it causes a traffic problem in New York, then it becomes national news, because they're nothing if not self-important in New York. And the network headquarters, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSDNC, they all have their headquarters in New York. And therefore, it's big news if it happens in New York, especially if their traffic is disrupted, because they don't like that. Isn't that amazing? Authorities identified the gunman as 27-year-old Shane Tamura. We believe this to be a lone shooter and no longer an active threat to the public. The police commissioner, Tisch, said the gunman had a weapons permit in Nevada, where he lived in apparently Las Vegas, or the Las Vegas area in Nevada, and that he had a documented mental health history. Yet still he was able to buy a rifle, an assault-style rifle that he used to murder these people. She said the initial investigation showed that he had driven across the country in recent days, only entering New York City shortly before the shooting. Surveillance video showed Tamura double parking his car. I assume they're going to charge him with that. They always charge you with stuff like that. And it was an oversized magazine. Like that's the Democrats like to focus on that. But first, he double-parked his car outside the building and entered with an M4 assault rifle, Tisch said, the police commissioner. The gunman then entered the building lobby, immediately opened fire on the NYPD officer who was working security as an extra job, extra work, extra money. He was a father of 2 children, his wife at home pregnant with their 3rd child. His name is Islam, so that got the Democrats going. So before shooting a woman, and he tried to take cover, the woman tried to take cover behind a pillar. The shooter, meaning the gunman, the murderer, then proceeded through the lobby, sprayed it with gunfire, he said, before heading toward the elevator. And then he shot a security guard who was taking cover behind the security desk before allowing a woman to exit the elevator. Now, I'm looking at this, and this is big national, and CNN talking about it all morning and all night last night, and Fox News and a lot of others as well, because it's big news. And Michael Piercy and I were talking about this and said, well, gee, what happened in Chicago over the weekend? Because when incidents like this happen in Chicago, somehow it doesn't make national news. I don't know why that is. Over the weekend, shootings in Chicago left 24 people wounded, only 1 dead this weekend in Chicago. But let's look at the recent history of Chicago that didn't make any news. The Fox 32 in Chicago headline today, Chicago organizers call for, quote, no crime weekend, end quote, to curb violence. Well, that'd do it, wouldn't it? Have no crime? See, no crime, that would curb violence. Why didn't I think of that? Hey, they should give that a whack. Give that a try. How about having a no crime weekend in Chicago? And that would curb violence. See, that they're not so stupid. But if you look at 1 week ago, the headline from the Chicago Sun-Times, 32 shot, 6 killed in most violent non-holiday summer weekend this year in Chicago. I like that phrasing in the headline. How many qualifiers are there? 32 shot, 6 killed in the most violent non-holiday summer weekend. Yeah, but on holiday summer weekend, see, then this would be normal, of course. This year, well, just this year, and we're only halfway through the year, so don't worry about that. And then 3 weeks ago, Chicago's bloody 4th of July weekend leaves 55 shot, 6 dead. And I'll tell you that not a single cable news network went wall-to-wall with helicopter coverage and all that in Chicago because the networks don't have their headquarters in Chicago. Otherwise, it'd be much more important news. It didn't disrupt their holiday weekend and their traffic because they want to go home. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. There's something, and there are our news media. And pretty normal. April 14th, at least 18 shot, 4 fatally, weekend gun violence across Chicago. Perfectly normal in Chicago. And it doesn't get mentioned in the Washington Post, and it doesn't get wall-to-wall coverage on CNN with Wolf Blitzer going on and on about it. Am I right? Yes, I am. Now, let's get, because we've got a couple of sound bites on this topic, don't we? And I'm sorry, I know I veered off onto this topic, but because this happened in New York, and the New York City, they have a police commissioner. It's a woman. Is she the first woman police commissioner? Because genitalia is very, very important when it comes to Democrats hiring people in key positions. That and melanin levels and ethnicity. But here is New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
The shooter is believed to be Shane Tamura, a 27-year-old male with a Las Vegas address. The vehicle he exited is registered in Nevada to Mr. Tamura. Inside of that vehicle, officers found a rifle case with rounds, a loaded revolver, ammunition, and magazines, a backpack, and medication prescribed to Mr. Tamura.
What kind of medication? I think we'd like to know what kind of medication. Was it heart pressure, blood pressure, heart medicine, or was it for being a psychotic who shouldn't have been allowed to buy an AR-15 style rifle and go to New York with it and go into a building? But you know how the Democrats are. And then they've got a mayor there named Eric Adams, who, compared to the Democrat that won the Democrat mayoral primary, who's a communist and a jihadi and wants to kill all of civilization itself, certainly Western civilization. But never mind that. Here's the Democrat Mayor Eric Adams.
We lost 4 souls to another senseless act of gun violence, including a member of the New York City Police Department, Officer Islam. And everyone we spoke with stated he was a person of faith and a person that believed in God and believed in living out the life of a godly person. He embodies what this city is all about. He's a true blue New Yorker, not only in the uniform he wore, but in his spirit and energy of loving this city.
He, as an immigrant, was an immigrant before he was murdered by this lunatic yesterday from Bangladesh. And when Mayor Eric Adams said he's a man of faith and believes in God, he's the Islamic faith, and God is Allah. But he was an NYPD officer who joined about 4 years ago in the middle of the Wuhan when the Democrats were fighting to defund the police and lynch the police. And this guy joined the police force. Now, also interestingly, Zohran Kwame Mamdani, the aforementioned communist, jihadi, mainstream Democrat who won the Democratic primary for the mayor's race in New York City. Zohran Kwame Mamdani, and that's his name on his Twitter account, which they also call X. And Kwame, was he in Uganda when he tweeted this? Because we know how he loves to go to, I think because he longs for the days of Idi Amin Dada, the cannibal leader of Uganda, but where his father decided to settle because. But here is Zohran Kwame Mamdani. Remember, you say Barack Hussein Obama and the Democrats all became angry with you. But here's Zohran Kwame Mamdani. He's he's not a fan of civilization, Western civilization. But Zohran Kwame Mamdani tweeted out, Officer Dira, and it's Didarul, Didarul Islam, that's his name. See, he's got to weigh in. Didarul Islam was one of 4 people killed in yesterday's horrific shooting. That's what Mamdani tweeted this morning. A Bangladeshi immigrant who joined the NYPD 4 years ago. He lived in Parkchester with his pregnant wife, their 2 young children, and his elderly parents. When he joined the police department, his mother asked him why he would pursue such a dangerous job. Is that really what she asked? He told her it was to leave behind the legacy of his family, leave behind a legacy his family could be proud of. He has done that and more. This is Zohran Kwame Mamdani. I pray for him in Islamic prayers, his family, and honor his legacy of service and sacrifice that he leaves behind. And that's true, and that's fair enough. And he did. He is an immigrant from Bangladesh, a Muslim man. He joined the NYPD, and then he was gunned down by a lunatic from Las Vegas, and that's all bad. All of that is bad, got to say. But the just amazing stuff. Now let's go to CNN, because CNN, and who was it with let's see, got 4. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, they're expert on CNN on law enforcement matters, John Miller. And listen to this. What does he want to see out of this?
They do not know who he is. They know he is a male, possibly white. He's wearing sunglasses. He appears to have a mustache.
Possibly white. We're looking at the pictures of him, and in the pictures of him, he's completely obviously not white. He appears to be black and Asian. And not white, but they really want everybody to be white if they've done bad things. Just amazing. And let's do number 3 while we're here. Number 3, Fox News reporter Alexis McAdams.
The NYPD says he's a man of faith who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
See, that always annoys me. He didn't pay the ultimate sacrifice. You make the ultimate sacrifice. You pay the ultimate price. You pay the price. You don't make the price. You don't pay the sacrifice. It's a mixed metaphor, and they do this in the media all the time. I find that annoying, so I just wanted to share that with you today, because I heard it and I said, well, there we go again. You don't pay the ultimate sacrifice. You make the ultimate sacrifice. You pay the ultimate price. And news media, words are your living. Try to, please, you people. There's a lot more. I want to talk to you about living a better digital life with one of our newest partners. We love our partners. Our newest partner, WebRoot. I chose WebRoot because the total protection product, WebRoot's all-in-one package plan. Listen to this. They've got all-in-one package plan options for individuals, allowing for coverage of up to 5 devices or up to 10 devices with a family package. And they have you covered no matter what. WebRoot's coverage includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN backup, and a whole lot more. And you don't need to be an adult. You know, the kids are using all these devices too. WebRoot wants to make sure that your entire family is protected. Whether, you've got a toddler on the internet, a student, or mom and dad, you have seniors on the internet. WebRoot allows for my best girl and I to live a better digital life, and that's why I want to recommend it to you. Recommend that you do the same thing right now, because we hang out together. You're going to get 50% off WebRoot Total Protection or WebRoot Essentials when you go to webroot.com/plant. That's me. Again, get 50% off, 50% off WebRoot Total Protection or WebRoot Essentials when you go to webroot.com/plant. Thank me later. Isn't that great? Yeah, so we've got that and the weather. I got the Democrats and the weather and politics. That's coming up also. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Let us go to the telephonic devices, Michael. Let's go to Donna, calling from Frederick, Maryland. Donna, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Well, hello, Chris, and welcome back. I hope you had a great trip. I didn't catch your first hour, but boy, have I enjoyed what I've heard so far. And I'm going to say that when you address the Tulsi Gabbard information, it's so obvious that the media wants to bury it with everything else that's going on. God forbid they call attention to the truth. And I keep thinking about how Trump came out in 2016 and he said, quote, "We caught them all," unquote. And then my brain goes to a unique event, which was George Bush Sr.'s funeral, and the little notes that were handed out to certain individuals during that funeral. And I can't help but wonder if those were the words on those note cards. Just a thought. Love to hear your opinion on it.
Interesting. I was actually at the George H.W. Bush funeral at the Washington National Cathedral. Nobody passed me a note. So I'm not sure I can address that. I think they have other means of communicating their evil, nefarious, conspiratorial ends, more securely. Now we were just talking to Donna a moment ago, and long friend of the show and of the mothership station, and I'd forgotten all about the notes that were passed out at the funeral of George H.W. Bush, the former president of the United States, at the Washington National Cathedral, the funeral where I was with my best girl. We both attended the funeral. And there are a lot of conspiracy theories about all that. And I don't know how H.W. Bush would have any awareness of what Obama was up to, conspiring against Trump. But there were envelopes passed to certain invitees at the Washington National Cathedral funeral, and were they notes from H.W. Bush that were left behind? Were they handwritten letters to people left post-mortem? There are all kinds of hypotheses flying around out there. The mysterious letter or letters that George H.W. Bush's funeral, and a moment that left many stunned. I don't think it left many stunned, but okay. But never mind that. There were notes passed at the cathedral to certain attendees, prominent political figures, allegedly members of the Bush family he wouldn't have to leave notes at the funeral for his own family, but okay. The Clintons, the Obamas, the Bidens, and anything to do with any of this, I cannot speak to that. We'd have to look at the video from the funeral in the cathedral, go to the people who received the sealed envelopes, and ask them what the envelopes contained. I think that would be reasonable. But what we're talking about is Tulsi Gabbard revealing all kinds of hijinks going on behind the corrupt curtain of Barack Hussein Obama and John Penitentiary Face Brennan. What do you think's a better middle name, Hussein or Penitentiary Face? I don't know. Hard to say. Or James lie under oath to the Senate Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, or the corrupt FBI Director, John Brennan. Excuse me. We got so many corrupt people. The FBI Director, of course, being Comey, and the corruption everywhere. Everywhere. Such corruption. But let's get to Tulsi Gabbard, because Tulsi Gabbard was on, I believe it was Saturday morning on Fox and Friends TV and the morning show on the Fox News Channel. Tulsi Gabbard, now the Director of National Intelligence, now a Republican after 2 years as an independent and 20-some-odd years as an elected Democrat, including a Democrat member of the House. And she apparently recognized, and a U.S. Army officer, she apparently recognized along the way that the Democrat Party was not for her anymore. And who wouldn't realize that when you start paying attention? Hillary Clinton famously accused Tulsi Gabbard, while she was a Democrat member of Congress, of being a Russian asset. And that might have had something to do with her deciding to leave the Democrat Party. They were trying to lynch her from a tree with a Democrat hemp rope. Amazing stuff. Tulsi Gabbard on Fox and Friends on Saturday talking about how she's revealed so much with documents. And these documents are from the Obama administration. And they were secret because they were conspiring. They were engaged in a criminal conspiracy, a treacherous, traitorous, possibly treasonous criminal conspiracy. And so they were classified and kept secret. And now Tulsi Gabbard has uncovered these documents, has made many of them public. There are more to come, apparently. The Durham Special Counsel investigation has a bunch of classified documents that we haven't seen, because why would we see them, right? And they're talking about making these classified addenda, the plural for addendum, making them public so we can see what was going on in secret behind the... And Tulsi Gabbard is... Wow, isn't this amazing? The Washington Post isn't reporting it. The New York Times isn't reporting it. CNN is just trying to shoot it down. George Snuffleupagus is not focusing on the newly discovered, uncovered, classified, once classified documents about Obama loosing the dogs of war on Donald Trump, who was the incoming president of the United States, and the very corrupt, mentored by a Communist Party member, Frank Marshall Davis, the very corrupt Barack Hussein Obama, with his Communist Party voting CIA director, John Brennan. Again, John Brennan voted for the Communist Party candidate for the presidency of the United States. Gus Hall voted for him in 1976, and then John Brennan went to the CIA in 1980. You think he had changed a lot by then, or was he going in there to be a communist? And then Barack Obama finally made him CIA director. And then John Brennan corrupted the 2016 election and the 2020 election. Other than that, he was a great CIA director. Oh, also, he was the CIA station chief in Saudi Arabia when visas were given to more than a dozen hijackers who would hijack and steal planes on September 11th, 2001, crash them into buildings and into a field in Pennsylvania. And John Brennan was there. Oh, yeah, these guys, we need these guys to go to the United States. Also, all the rumors, I think, unproven about Brennan converting to Islam, but never mind that. He did spend time in Saudi Arabia as the CIA station chief there. Tulsi Gabbard on Saturday.
It's been interesting to see how the mainstream media has either refused to cover this story at all. The headlines, or the lack thereof, of newspapers, Washington Post, New York Times, and others in the days following this release have actually been quite deafening in their lack of coverage. And it's interesting to see how when they do cover this, they don't actually cover the revelations that these intelligence reports and the evidence that we released actually conveys to the American people. They simply talk about their criticisms of it or convey Democrat politicians' criticisms of it, but none of them actually dealing with the truth that has been revealed.
That's exactly right. I might have said it more eloquently. I've got to admit, I might have said it better. But we were listening to the sound bites earlier today. I said, an economy of language might serve her well in this context. But I'm a talking guy, so I don't want to indict Tulsi Gabbard at all. But what she's saying is the corrupt news media doesn't report the news; they attack it because they don't like it, because they're Democrat Party front groups. Tulsi Gabbard.
To me, there's two reasons for that. Number one is they don't want the American people to know the truth, but also they recognize the mainstream media's complicity in this, right, that they were fed early lines from this manufactured false intelligence assessment that President Obama ordered, that John Brennan and James Clapper created without any vetting, without any actual journalistic integrity of looking at what they were being fed. They received it and they printed it almost immediately. And then they went on to double down and triple down on this over the next several years.
Yeah, because a lie told once remains a lie. As Joseph Goebbels famously said, a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. And the Democrat Party, with their information dominance, media dominance, they repeat the lie 1,000 times, following in the footsteps of Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister for the Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler. And the Democrat Party uses that playbook along with the Soviet playbook. Now, there was a documentary film made by HBO, or aired on HBO, called Agents of Chaos. And it was an anti-American, anti-Republican, anti-Trump documentary, of course. Agents of Chaos. The year was 2020. And President Trump elected in 2016, sworn in 2017. And the Communist Party voting, 1976. And then CIA joining, 1980. John Penitentiary Face Brennan was naturally interviewed for the 2020 documentary HBO anti-Trump thing. And John Brennan, did he make a confession here? Did he admit everything?
Congress is on recess. And so I then reach out, or through my staff, reach out to the staff directors of the members of the Gang of Eight, who were widely dispersed at the time, whether it be in their home districts or vacation or whatever.
I got a call from the CIA director, John Brennan, and he asked me if I would go to secure line, and I found one at the FBI, and
Harry Reid.
We had a conversation. It's a scary call because, as has been reported in the press since then, the call was about Russia meddling in our elections.
But when he heard that the CIA then had this information and assessment, it really made his, I think, blood boil.
With Brennan's phone call, certainly gave me the impetus to write the letter to the director of the FBI, Comey, telling him, here's the information I have, do something with it. The prospect of a hostile government actively seeking to undermine our free and fair elections represents one of the gravest threats to our democracy since the Cold War. I further said, the American people deserve to have a full understanding of the facts from a complete investigation before they vote this November.
Now, the Russians had been meddling in our elections for generations. Every 4 years, the Russians would meddle in our elections one way or the other. The Clinton family had taken a lot of money from Putin allies in Moscow. The news media, of course, left all over the place. Donald Trump, they're trying to make him out to be this terrible right-wing zealot. I think he was a Democrat most of his adult lifetime, Donald Trump. But never mind that. But this documentary from HBO, Agents of Chaos, John Brennan and Harry Reid, And then they bragged Comey, Harry the Body Reid, brought James Comey into it at the end, too. And, we're shocked to find that Russia would be tampering in our elections, which they do every 4 years and more, because they'll tamper in midterm elections and beyond. But in presidential elections, they tamper and they meddle every 4 years. And the intelligence, and then Harry Reid, who was too busy being beaten to a pulp by his brother, apparently. I was shocked to learn things that every political science professor has known since the 1960s, that Russia meddles in our elections. And they're shocked, I say. So Harry the Body Reid and John Brennan, so I told him, and I had to go to the FBI blocks away from the Capitol to get a secure line. Yeah, because it's so important that John Brennan, the CIA director who voted for the Communist Party, and it's just the lie is so big. Well, wait a minute. And nobody on the HBO clown is an ignorant, I was going to use a bad word. I had to stop myself right there. An ignorant person, I'll say person, and doesn't come in armed for bear to ask questions. It's just Democrat Party propaganda by HBO, which is a Time Warner Corporation, which owns CNN. And it's all a great big Democrat Party circle fest in a hot tub. And there's Brennan, left-wing, radical Communist Party voting Democrat, and Harry Reid, who was the gaming commissioner in Las Vegas, and apparently Tom Smothers' character in a, what was that, casino, where, he's the gangstered up. He was supposed to be crooked with the mob in Nevada for years when he was the gaming commissioner before they ran him for senator. Was he the guy that they set up with the dead prostitute in the bed and the blood and the pictures and all that? Just amazing. Yeah, so it's all the fake, the fraud, and Tulsi Gabbard's trying to reveal it. And she says, and where's the media? Where's the media on this? Good questions. All right, Michael, let's grab a phone call here before I run out of gas once again. Let's go to Steve, calling from Northwest Indiana. That could be near Gary, Indiana. Steve, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yeah, grew up there. So many thoughts come to mind when you're on hold. Have you seen Mississippi Masala?
Yes, not for a long time, but yes.
That's a good movie.
Sure.
But the communist mother directed that movie. Did you know that?
Was she the director? This is, you're talking about the Democrat would-be mayor of New York. Yeah, his mother was involved. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was the director of that. Anyways, the shadow government runs deep. What do you get, 6 months vacation every year?
Why, because I was just away on the sea cruise?
Yeah, well, it seems like you're on vacation every couple of weeks, I mean,
that's funny. It doesn't seem like that to me.
Well, of course not. But, your fill-in guy is really good, so you better watch your back.
Yeah, Mike Opelka, yeah, he's, we went to the same Catholic school as kids. North Shore, Chicago, not far from where you are now.
Yeah, my father-in-law, he worked for U.S. Steel. They had a thing where for a couple of years they had a lottery where you could get a chance to take 13 weeks vacation out of the year. And he was a very lucky Irishman, so he won 2 years in a row. The second year, the department went nuts, because it's rigged.
Sounds like a rig.
Yeah. 13 weeks vacation. That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, I feel like I get maybe 2 weeks. Also, if you had come along on the Chris Plant Sea Cruise, then we would have been hanging out for the last week and 10 days circumnavigating the island nation of Iceland, along with a lot of our great American listeners. See?
Yeah, well, that's where my people are from, so I would, have a good time there, I'm sure.
From Iceland?
Well, no, I'm Scandinavian, but
yeah, okay.
I'm sure we stopped off on the way,
Yeah, you could fly there if you wanted. Yeah, we didn't. We flew into right into Iceland, in Reykjavik, and then we boarded the ship and counterclockwise, in a counterclockwise fashion, we circumnavigated the island nation and made, I think, 9 stops at different locations, and it was great, really, really great stuff. Steve, thank you for the call, and a little bit of harassment is always welcome. That's great. Thank you. You know, you've heard me talk about GenericCBD.com, and listen, it's a great little outfit. They're down in Mississippi. I thought it was funny that Steve just mentioned Mississippi Masala, knowing I was going to be talking about this next. They sell CBD products with huge discounts. Well, Generic CBD makes CBD hand, muscle, and joint cream, and we got them mail when we came back from Iceland. Contains 0 THC, and it's amazing stuff. The cream just melts into your aching hands, your knees, your neck, your back. Could use a little on my shoulder right now. You put it on something that hurts, and it's like nothing you've ever tried. It's crazy. Shout out to the great people at Generic CBD, a wonderful team. I just got their package. I really did, as I said, when we got back from Iceland. And thanks for the free bottles of cream, the extra bottles to give to family and friends. I can't wait to hand them out. If any of my listeners, you people, want to try Generic CBD, all you have to do is go to GenericCBD.com, and they'll send you 2 free samples. Right now, so they're not a big company, right? So you got to pay for the shipping, but it's usually about $2 or less. So go to GenericCBD.com, GENERIC, GenericCBD.com. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or illness. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's fun. Steve, and he's Mississippi. Yeah, there's nice companies in Mississippi. The good CBD people. No THC. It's just good pain relief stuff. Great stuff. And I'm going to look up that other thing right now. Well, I've got to update Steve, calling from Indiana, 100% correct. It was Mira Nair that directed the movie Mississippi Masala, which was a huge movie when it came out. And Mira Nair, Nair, like the hair removal foam, for to make your summer beach trips more appealing for everyone. Zoran Mamdani's mother, Mira Nair, Indian-American director. They've been so oppressed, haven't they? On the Upper West Side of Manhattan, directing massive global hits for Hollywood studios. It's got to be tough. Also, he just got back from Uganda, where he got married, apparently.